Hi, I'm C.M. Vazquez, author of the Birdcage Society Falling, the first in an ongoing psychological mystery series. Welcome to Book Club. Today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 6 of Darkly Dreaming Dexter. This chapter starts off with Dexter on a date with a woman named Rita. Dexter describes her as damaged. She's divorced with 2 kids, but her marriage was full of beatings and SA. She finally had enough when her ex-husband, went after the kids. I was pretty disappointed at the fact that Rita's ex is locked away. I think you can guess why. But I would have liked it if Dexter had had a chance to administer his particular brand of justice. But we can't have everything, right? Dexter refers to Rita as the perfect date. Because she, of course, having been assaulted so frequently by her ex, is not looking for physical intimacy. He says that she's been searching for an imaginary man, one that just wants to spend time together and is willing to wait indefinitely for her to be ready for other things. But it just so happens that Dexter is great at playing the part of this sensitive and gentle guy. He's so used to faking everything, so why not jump at this opportunity to have the careful, normal relationship that Harry encouraged him to seek out? Now, I also want to point out that the odd way in which Dexter describes Rita is... Well, let me get into it, okay? He says that she is presentable, and he describes how small she is, athletic, blonde hair, blue eyes. A normal man probably would have said that she was beautiful, at least, but Dexter's words remind me of the way a witness would describe a perp to a police officer. But then he describes Cody and Aster, Rita's children. He says the phrase, "Best of all are her 2 children." The way he feels about children is a mystery to him, but he feels that children matter, that they're important, to him at least. When thinking about other people, he says that other people are less important to him than lawn furniture. But somehow, kids are different. I think that there's some foreshadowing here in regards to the difference in the way Dexter views children versus adults. I think there's an underlying cause in the same vein as the way Dexter feels about blood. Harry mentioned when Dexter was 14 that something happened to him at the age of 3, and whatever it was made Dexter what he is. I think there are subtleties to this as well, beyond the obvious that Dexter likes to and has a need to kill things. Although I don't know if Lindsay did this on purpose. One can only speculate. I did mention on Wednesday in Chapter 5's video that Jeff Lindsay has created a likable serial killer. And this feels like yet another device that endears the readers to Dexter, particularly in the way that he cares for children. Now, what I find heartbreaking about Rita's kids is that they're withdrawn and weary, which makes sense given the abuse that they suffered and watched their mother endure. But Dexter knows they can overcome it because he overcame his own horrors. So he believes that they can as well. So when Dexter picks up Rita for their date, he notes her attire. She's wearing a short blue dress and cross trainers. He likes this because he has never heard of or seen a woman wearing comfortable shoes on a date. He likes it so much, in fact, that he refers to her as provocative and enchanting. I really enjoyed this part, not only because it shows Dexter being appreciative, but because I also love to wear sneakers and tennis shoes with dresses, I think that it's absolutely adorable. One of the most adorable ways, in fact, to wear a dress. That being said, it would also depend on what we were doing on the date, because I also love wearing heels. But I understand where Rita's coming from. Her mind is, when choosing to wear the outfit, her mind is at the place where heels would make her look sexier. And since that's not what she has in mind or wants to attract, cross trainers make sense. To be fair, though, that entire outfit, depending on the person, can be considered extremely sexy. And given that Dexter doesn't know what he's feeling and when, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Dexter finds Rita quite sexy in this outfit. This is further evidence to support, there will be further evidence to support at the end of this chapter, but I'll get to that in a minute. Dexter and Rita go out on their date, and they have a good time. Dexter is a perfect gentleman, like always, but on their way back, Dexter notices flashing lights and crime scene tape. He stops, leaving Rita in the car, and walks straight up to Batista. It's body parts and trash bags again, just like Dexter knew it would be. Same MO, no blood. But some of the cuts are rougher this time. And there's a bluish tinge to the skin. The killer also flayed some of the skin off this time. And Dexter tells Batista that the killer is experimenting, trying to find the right way. He tells Rita something similar when he gets back into the car, that the killer is like a kid playing with his food. But when Rita mentions that she hopes they catch this killer very soon, Dexter says it's unlikely because the detective in charge is more interested in the politics of the case than actually solving it. This causes Rita to become silent and go inward deep into her thoughts. At the same time, Dexter is thinking about the killer and the recent crime scene. Dexter catches him off guard with her thoughts when she voices them because he had already moved on from the conversation. But it seems that from the way Dexter joked about the crime scene being considered heinous, and then was so nonchalant about whether the case will be solved, that for a brief moment, Rita caught a glimpse of the real Dexter. She says, and I'm going to read a little part about exactly what she says to him. She says, "It's like everything really is two ways. The way we all pretend it is, and the way it really is. And you already know that, and it's like a game for you." So at this point, I think that suggests that she did catch a glimpse of him, that she is seeing parts of him that he hasn't shown to her before, and it wasn't on purpose. He was kind of caught off guard because of the crime scene and because his mind has wandered. But he's already checked out of the conversation at the same time, so it makes sense that he wouldn't necessarily be paying attention to what Rita is saying or necessarily what comes out of his mouth at this point. And he definitely does not pick up on the fact that Rita has made this small realization. He's actually so distracted that when Rita places a hand on his arm and says his name, his reaction is to kiss her. That was unexpected for everyone. Rita, Dexter, the audience, but I loved it. Now, remember earlier when I said that Dexter finds Rita more attractive than he realizes? I think that either this kiss was a manifestation of those unconscious feelings, or it was also a subconscious response, but was in order to get her to stop talking, basically, because he's distracted. So he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to kiss you to get you to shut up. Either one could be true at this point, but let me know which one you think it is, and if you think it was something else. Regardless, the kiss provokes a fear response from Rita, or at least overwhelming feelings. It causes her to shut down. She says no, and that she's not ready. Then she flees out of the car and back into her house. Dexter is confused at this point, but remains unaffected by Rita's response. Even though he may have just ruined the relationship, all he can think about are the body parts and the lack of blood. Well, that concludes chapter 6. I do want to say that I like Rita. She's sweet, but also traumatized, so I feel so much for her. And I have a feeling that Rita's reaction was not about Dexter overstepping necessarily, but was actually about her own mental and maybe even physical response to Dexter's advance. I think she liked it, and that scared her. So join me on Wednesday for chapter 7. See you next time.